Do you agree with me if I say that the world is going through some radical changes right now when it comes to politics, when it comes to warfare and AI and whatsoever, you know, everything that's kind of radical and new?
The short answer is this is a generational change right now. I compare it to the dawn of the industrial age. I think the last big change was the internet age. And even though you could say we're still in the internet age, I would rather call it like we're in the social network age. Social network now is more than just a pastime. It's become our news. It's become the way we fully interact now. And those are my views. I'm stealing that a little bit from like multiple podcasts where I've seen smart people make that observation. But I think that it's true. I think, so the answer is yes, we are the world is different now. I think also it's because those of us that lived a specific era in our lives, and this could be a really long answer, so I'm going to try and shorten it, because we're entering a topic that has to do, in my mind, this is a question that touches the topic of time, what time is, what a lifespan is, and what in your lifespan can involve different segments and chapters of your life. And I don't know your exact, like, I don't know what year you were born or your age, but for how long I've known you, I would say that you, of course myself, because of my age, a lot of people that I met in the 2000s, I think we were living a golden era in the 2000s and we didn't know it. And now that people of our generation are seeing that golden age kind of become a little bit more of the past, no longer it's the now, we also psychologically are feeling like time is kind of leaving us in the past and we're entering. So I think part of that, I know, I'll be more specific, a lot of us that are like entering our 50s or now in our 50s, those of you that are entering your 40s, I noticed something in common when we have, be it a friend at work or on the touring or just family, we all say that. We feel like the world is changing. I don't think 20 and 30-year-olds are going to say that. That's what I'm getting to. And then when I was in my 20s and 30s, the people that used to say the world is changing, they're now in their 60s and 70s. So I think, and I'll try and condense this again, but in part I think it's because of our age. We have now entered, welcome to the middle age of life. So that time that I'm talking about in our life, we are now entering or have entered middle age, and we feel like, the world isn't the same anymore. But the truth is, it's definitely in a generational change. Also, I think if you and I were middle-aged in the 80s or 90s, we wouldn't feel it so much as we do now. But yeah, it's so ask yourself, why does it feel so weird? What feels so fucking weird right now? Internet isn't that old, isn't that new anymore. Social networking really isn't new anymore. So I think it's what social networking does on a subliminal level is what we're feeling as weird. It's kind of like if I spray this room with a drug and I don't tell you and you just smell it and you start feeling weird and you don't know what it is, but you know you feel different. I think that dopamine or drug is the way we interact with each other now. It's cold, it's frivolous, it's quick, it's fast, everybody's in a hurry to go nowhere, and I think that's what we're feeling. Other than that, it can be a much more complex answer, but I think in essence it's mostly that. It's a little bit of those of us who entered our mid-age are going to feel some changes. And also, if music has really reigned your life, if music is a theme for your life, Like, if music has contributed to creating memories in your life, oh, I heard this album when I heard the first Graveland demo when I was doing this. I heard the first Wasp album when I was 14. I remember when I was 14 in '86. And if there's not a whole lot of music that inspires you and creates memories for you now, and if music has become a little bit more, because it's what's happened to me. My music is what I make. But if music from other bands is a little bit less inspiring for you now, it's going to create less memories for you. And so maybe also their life will start to feel weird, a little more empty, like, oh, they don't make music like they used to, and people don't communicate like they used to, and I'm getting older, and yeah. So it's a little of all that.
There's a saying on the internet that you remember the first album you bought, but you don't remember the first album that you downloaded.
Oh man, that's powerful. I've never heard that.
So
wow, that's powerful, man.
The thing is, I was born in 1985, by the way, and I was
that was a killer year.
Yeah, especially for thrash metal and all these. In general,
in the world, man. I mean, I know older folks will say, "Oh, that was still the Cold War era." Yeah, go ahead.
So the point is that I was part of the generation, maybe most likely the last generation that was witnessing the evolution of computers, and my parents could, let's say, evolve with me when it comes to the digitalization, so they could also learn the new stuff. It wasn't that new for them. We could evolve together. Now I see huge generational gap between siblings, not just parents, and grandparents and grandchildren, but also between siblings. Even 5 years now is a huge gap between the generations. So it also makes me think that, it's not just boomer talk, let's say, that, oh, everything was different back in the day. Of course, I also have memories. I also feel nostalgia about this or that, Master of Puppets was played in the background when I lost my virginity, so of course I have memories and everything, but, I don't really see that connection with the new generation. They don't, maybe it's boomer talk, I don't care, but, I don't really see that they are connected to art in general like we were,
People use that whole boomer thing, and they don't have enough memories themselves yet. They don't understand that that's reminiscing. It's nostalgia. A lot of people don't know what nostalgia is, and some people are so fucking depressed over nothing that they don't know there's a difference between being nostalgic and being depressed, and they're so busy being depressed and down about stupid stuff that they don't know that there's kind of a better place to be sad, happy. And the only way you can create that is reminiscing over good memories. If you don't create good memories, then you're just going to think that people reminiscing are just busy being old and thinking the past is the greatest thing and that's it. So they'll ridicule that. But no, you have memories. That's lots of memories. Yeah, and that's I'm sure people today, youth today, they're going to have great memories too, but just maybe a little different from the ones we have when it comes to music, at least. I've had this talk before, just like not in an interview or anything. I've gone in depth with a couple of friends, where I told them exactly what I told you. Incubus, Tom, he's one of the people I told. I said, music was such a huge part of just living that I think the reason why times feel different is because music no longer is the prime source of entertainment and pastime in any activity you do. And I think how is it, like in the 1920s it was theater, and then cinema replaced theater, and then it's debatable that before theater you had music, but then the ability to record music kind of didn't really replace music or theater, but was the new thing. And then here comes Elvis and all those guys, and now they're recording music, and that's kaboom. And then the big hydrogen bomb was music, and then the 70s and then the 80s, and and then the compact disc. And so there was this magic of incredible artists, labels, and formats and home stereos to just create this magical thing called music, right? In the modern era. And then I don't know, maybe you could say video games now replaced all the entertainment. And then for VR, all that stuff. I think though, and obviously I'm not the first one to say it, but maybe music, its place is going to be live now, and we'll kind of go back to the roots of adoring, like praising live presentations more than maybe even in the 2000s, because we had so many shows and tours.
And the other recent thing that's really a big question right now, game changer, artificial intelligence. Not only when it comes to art in general, but also even politics and everything. So what do you think? How would artificial intelligence change the world? It seems kind of unleashed right now.
Well, yeah, almost every answer I could give you has already been given. So I'll just sound like I'm narrating other people's observations. But most of the people I've read about or watched or on podcasts, and they have it right. It's AI is just a collective of a gathering of information at this point. There's no rationale behind it. It doesn't rationalize like we do. I think overall your question is kind of refresh my memory on what that last part of the question was. How can it
in general about artificial intelligence, that how would it affect the world when it comes to art, when it comes to politics, when it comes to thinking?
Well, I'll give you a short answer. If we become too lazy, if the moment we become lazy is the moment when AI can begin to replace the most mundane things that we do. I'll give you an example. Every day before a show, like most musicians, I set up my gear, I do a sound check. It keeps me busy, and I love it. If I went high-tech, full-on, modernized, IR, profile amps, I would become lazy. I could wait to the last minute, come off the bus, hook up my pedal board, chunk, good to go. And that's it. There's something beautiful about keeping the mind busy and trying to put out fires. I love it that every night, nothing's perfect. There's always that problem with that monitor. There's always a problem with a speaker cable, or something happened to my gain pedal, or I don't want AI to replace that. I'm making a conscious. I hope people are connecting dots, because I can tend to kind of I'm not weaving around anything. I have multiple thoughts at once, but narrowing everything, just what I want to tell everybody about this question is, let's not get lazy. Let's kind of still involve the effort it takes to take on problems ourselves, not rely on a computer or computation to always prevent small things. It's okay to have small problems. It's okay to have different changes in your tone because maybe one of your tubes aren't working quite great in your amp. I'm using that as a parallel, of course. I mean, if you want to use like your Axe effects and perfect digital sound, great, do it. But I'm using that as a metaphor to say, whatever you do that AI will replace or is already replacing, why don't you just do it yourself sometimes, or do it by hand, or like, do you really want a fucking robot vacuuming your house every day? I mean, grab one and walk around and vacuum just to keep the brain activity going, moving. So the danger of AI, for me, what I think of is there's no threat at all. We're our own threat, you know. It's like a gun. Is it the person or is it the gun, you know?
So technically we are afraid of AI, but technically we are the creators who should be afraid of, who should be feared.
Okay, if you want me to really finalize that, remind yourself what your purpose is as a human being. You are a human, you are the ultimate God. The same human being that created AI as a tool. Don't invent the gun to turn it on yourself. And don't weaponize it either. Just use it to make, who was it, Musk? I can't remember. No, it wasn't Musk. Somebody, anyway, gave a very easy answer, and it was, that I saw recently in a podcast, and it was, oh man, I just forgot his name. The guy who invented like Moog synthesizers and came up with the theory of this time continuum of technology catching up with us. Forgot his name also. But he said AI is going to just make us so much more intelligent. I know that's an obvious answer, but that's really what it's for. You may not believe it, but if you don't want to believe that, then you're part of the group of people that see AI as a threat. We have to keep a positive outlook on future technology, just like we were positive about the internet before it came out. We were positive about the military giving open free rights to the public to use the satellites for GPS. At one time, GPS was only for military. And look what we can do with GPS now. Social networking existed before we had access to it. It was called something else, I think. But so AI is going to be great. It's incredible. And I think all the quirky stuff, like the AI art, and I think that's a phase. We'll eventually kind of fume off that stuff and really just use it when we really need it. But it's the lazy people we need to worry about.
When the internet became worldwide available, people said that, now we're gonna have all the knowledge online. Everybody can check all the information in 2 clicks, And technically we got, I'm not saying more stupid, but definitely more lazy when it comes to searching for information.
What's cool is we're not lazy about looking up information. Like, I think most of us are nerds. We want to learn stuff. The problem is, I guess, the lazy ones get distracted too easy. They'll go online and go, I need to go to Quora and look up the history of, and next thing you know, they're just sitting there flipping through TikTok stuff. Or that's where you can't be lazy. You need to be strong. But I don't know what else to tell you. It's you need to be in command, in charge. You need to be your own general. Your own leader of this brain, this beautiful, beautiful thing we have in our head, that we should really be disciplined about taking care of. We're always so worried about our weight and how we look, but we need to be brilliant. So where we don't use a lot, we always say smart. And another problem, here's something I want to volunteer, is I have a big problem about people equating intelligence only to like an academic level of how many books they read. And don't get me wrong, I read somewhat. The problem is you can read and read and read and retain that, and now you're just, you're like this recorder. You're just recording data, but you're I don't even want to say common sense. Your social intelligence. Where is that? What did reading all those books do for your social intelligence? And that's the intelligence I see really dying out. Your social skills. One thing that used to worry me a lot about black metal in general, and I got this way back in my late 20s, I was very aware about how important it was to be socially smart. And this whole thing of, oh, I hate people and I don't socialize, and it's like, dude, you're going to be pretty stupid in about 10 years. You are going to be nothing but depressed and dumb. No. So AI can worsen people that are already like that, and people who once had great social skills. I think that's what was happening in COVID. Some socially smart people, I think, were starting to feel maybe like, I kind of felt it a little bit. That's how I know what I'm talking about. Where, oh, you're now talking to less people, you're interacting less. People were going to concerts and doing their thing, or maybe they were feeling like dumber or something. Like, oh, I'm just this plant. I'm just this vegetable. And so people will go on hikes or do outdoor things to maybe feel better, and nope, that wasn't the answer. I feel healthier. Oh, so I need to feel smarter. I'll read a book. Okay, cool. So I read about, you know, Napoleon or whatever, and but I don't feel smarter. There's something about social intelligence that we get, but what we're doing here. Like this interview, while you're listening to me, I'm not going to say I'm feeling smarter, but it feels good. It is. Like, this is stimulating me in a positive way. It does. And so we need to keep doing these primal things. Interact.
I agree.
Yeah, man, we need to. Anyway, I'll let you move on with your other questions.
It just crossed my mind. I was listening to a podcast a few months ago, quite a long one, but I tried to tell you in a nutshell what was it all about. Now that we have all this mass production when it comes to plates, glasses, any kind of objects that we have all around us, and it was also directed to the AI question. Technically the AI, what it does, it's imitating. It's all about imitation. There is no soul behind it, you know. So technically...
Or assimilation, right?
Exactly,
So, yeah.
But you know, just thinking about that, but back in the day when somebody made, let's say, a mug, a handmade mug, it was the only piece in the world. And when you broke that mug, something happened in the existence. Something was irreversible. Something that actually changed the you know, not life in general, but existence, if you know what I'm saying. And now you break
the outlook, your perception maybe of...
Also, but you know, something, not only the memories that, you know, I was 5 years old and I was drinking hot chocolate from that mug or anything, no, but it was really a unique piece. Now you have any kind of glass from the shelf, it's mass produced, there is a million about it. And what AI does right now is technically also imitation, simulation. So it's, you know, working in a way for us right now, but it's also working against us right now because we are getting lazy a little bit about it. Okay, I don't want to write an essay, I'm gonna let the AI do the essay for me, or even songs, you know, I'm just gonna type a few songs and ideas or tracks that I've already done. Okay, do it for me. I already done my work, I've written 10 songs, now you do it for me. And people can believe that, you know, I'm the one who was the original creator. The computer is technically just creating ideas from my ideas. What do you think about that kind of imitation?
I have an answer. Well, I don't know if there's I have something to say that, and I hope this translates well through video, what I'm going to say. Sometimes, this is a side note, sometimes I give answers to a question that seem completely disconnected, but I'll still say it because it inspired, the question or comment inspired me to give that reply. So let's see if we can find a connection, but I want to say something. I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm going to say it by hearing what you just said. And I was really listening to you about the mug, because I do something that's kind of crazy sometimes. I tend to look for value. I don't know if this is like, if I have OCD or something. but I try to apply meaning to something like the mug. I actually have a mug that there's this one, the mug is starting to crack. It's white. I've had it since like 2002. But the mug, it's like made in China. It's dime a dozen. It's many people have that same mug. So here we go. This is where I'm going. We're going to have to connect the dots. So I made a conscious effort to give something that's so generic a meaning. So what? So many other people have it, but that mug has memories. This is a real story. Your mug is a coincidence, it's a good coincidence, but it has memories. I never studied philosophy, so just follow me because I'm going to start going all over. I never studied philosophy, but I can be an obsessive thinker, but also a deep thinker, and I always try to find meaning in everything. I have fun with it. I just enjoy doing it. If you're not like that, if you don't make effort to find depth in many things, on one side that's okay, on the other then you need something more. You need that handmade guitar or handmade mug to give it meaning. But if you can go deeper, you can find meaning in anything. In anything. So we're still on AI, right? And current modernism and a colder world maybe, and we can still find memories in things. We need to create memories. This is where I can go into the spiral and kind of forget what I'm saying, but I'm on track. If you can make a conscious effort to find meaning in almost everything, without regards of where this object was made or who gave it to you, or just take it for what it is, you can do that if you go deep and you're a thinker and you philosophize. Is that a word? Philosophy. And this is where I find value in philosophy. It's not just some ancient Greek mystical blabbing thing. Philosophy has been replaced by a lot of things, right? By technology, by religion, by politics. And philosophy has probably, I think, the most important role of all, which is in life, which is a very beautiful way to sit back and question everything. Why does it do that? Why? And what is that? What's the meaning? And what is meaning? And what is... When you have the ability to philosophize with yourself and to slow down and have conversations like this and question things without ridicule, I think that's when you can start to find meaning in many things that maybe before you didn't find any meaning in because of shallow reasons like, well, it's just a mug made in China, everyone has it. It's not like the one that my great grandmother gave me that was made by hand. Yeah, those are beautiful, that's more poetic. But I'm looking at things more positive. I think some things we just have, like globalization. Yeah, we have to accept the fact that many things we wear and buy or purchase are not unique. I'm from the days when it was easier to have a unique guitar. Now everybody can have a guitar. Everybody can play on these great amps. Everybody can sound like me. I can sound like everybody. So is music special anymore? Do people still go, oh, Dagon's guitar tone is amazing? No, because everybody can sound amazing now. A 20-year-old guy can come up with an IR loaded Tone X pedal, but that's inspiring to me because I can still do my thing with the old way, that ritual of setting up old amps and accept the modern technology and find a place that I still find special for myself, which is like, yes, you can find poetry and meaning and beauty in a cold world of AI. It's not all dismal. It's not. You just need to philosophize more and look. Turn the lights out and just think. Does that make sense?
It kind of sounds like to me that, let's say we have a clone of something or someone, and you are making that clone unique by giving that clone not only memories but also meaning. Is this what you mean? Because, you know, when it comes to a mass-produced mug that you get from IKEA or whatever, you know, and you can say, well, I have memories with that mug. I also see those scratches,
yes,
and all those, you know, fractures or something, and it's also memory-like, but I also use that mug, let's say, respectfully.
Yes.
Is this what you...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And this is where I'll sound crazy to people, is I almost see like a soul in that object. Like, no, don't discriminate that mug. Don't take that away from it. It's like when you buy a pet that might be, quote, replacing your previous pet. You won't love it at all originally. Like from the beginning. I don't think originally is the right word. From the beginning, you need to develop experiences with it. You need to, right, grow with it. And it might just be it's another it's just another whatever breed.
Another thing,
but with time, it'll have its own personality. It'll learn from you. Mug won't learn anything, right, from you. But memories don't only come from a development between two living conscious beings. You can develop that with just this bottle. And this is where you have to be careful, not be OCD. I could finish this water and say, I'm going to take this bottle with me back home. Because I remember having it here during this conversation. And depending how deep you go, it can get crazy. That's how nuts I can be sometimes with things. Like, I could sit here, well, I mean, once you leave, maybe I can go just start looking at this going, I'm going to take this with me. You know? I mean, and that's it. And it's a fucking plastic bottle, nothing. But by me discriminating this bottle, I'm discriminating. I'm not. It's almost like I'm not finding any value. Yeah, it becomes like a symbolicism of something, right? So that bland IKEA thing no longer is just a bland IKEA thing. It was, but now it has the scars from memories and time. The parallel is, the takeaway is, in a world of where I almost think we're too focused on AI, but in a world where people are allowing technology to create memories for them and doing things for them, the less important they feel that they are. In the grand scheme of things. I don't think most people think like that.
Probably not.
No, I think they're just this, like I said, there's just this fucking plant. They're like a cucumber just laying there. I don't know, I'm just depressed. I'm so down. Yeah, I need my medication. They don't, like, it's like you're this ball of energy with this beautiful, brilliant, what could be a brilliant mind. You're not stimulating it. It's just, you're dying. You're mentally dead. But you don't have to be that way. And to avoid that, you need to, have your social skills up, be aware of the fact that humans created these computers, humans created those robots, humans created those cars and those airplanes and that space shuttle and that space station and the telescope, and they didn't replace us. That's how incredible we are. We're like that orangutan that created a spear to fish. We are that. And when we see that orangutan doing that, we go, oh, holy did you, like, is that it? Is that real? That's a real orangutan making a spear? You know that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
They do that. And so we should be amazed at ourselves that we can do that, not afraid of ourselves, not afraid. If you're afraid if you're afraid of that tech, you're distrusting of ourselves. We are distrusting ourselves. Like, and if you're distrusting of yourself, you're kind of projecting your own your own, I don't want to say insecurities, but your own distrust. Like, yeah, I know I'm going to love this AI too much. I'm just going to stop living because I'm going to love it. Yeah, and no, don't think like that. Just use it to make yourself more intelligent, and that's it.
And the beautiful thing is that when you're a kid, you don't really have those, let's say, definitions in your head. Let's say you have a glass.
No.
You have a glass, and a kid doesn't, especially a small child, doesn't look at a glass like, okay, this is something that it's for water, to hold the water or anything. I can use it to see the world in a different way.
Yeah.
I can use it like gloves, whatever. Their mind is so free. They can technically, like on an LSD trip or something, And as we grow older, we learn stuff, and we technically, by learning new things, we also limit ourselves by this new stuff, and let's say oppress that child in us, the inner child, who's like completely.
There's something I want to add to that.
Yeah.
Is it kind of coincidentally something I wanted to point out that coincides with what you're saying, I think, is another concern I have is politics. I feel like this is such a good opportunity for me to say this, because I mention this to Incubus all the time, it's almost like politics now is the new measuring stick of intelligence. I feel like people use politics as a way to flash some kind of useless knowledge they have. Like, I don't know if you've noticed that. Like, it's such a central topic now. Politics. Left, right, I'm left, I'm right. This is all that stuff. And it's become such a big distraction that I feel like it's making people dumb. And that inner child you're talking about, politics squashes that. For a creative person, okay, I'll give you a good example. If I was hyper aware of politics and obsessed with politics and arguing politics, and do you think I would have written these last 2 albums like I did? No. Politics has become like that TikTok or Facebook ability to just flip. People are so busy, at least from what I see, like in our music scene, I feel like the more we've gotten away from more surreal, dreamy, which is okay to be, topics or beliefs or Lovecraftian type outer worlds, and just letting the mind drift into these amazing fictional areas of our brains, like an acid trip without the acid. We've become, I'm almost sounding like I'm preaching something. I'm not. But what worries me is the same thing that people worry about AI. I feel like the other AI that people aren't aware of enough is, it used to be television. It's politics, the topic of politics, and it's become such an obsessive topic and focal point that now I see people talking less about. I have to say something here. When it used to be in the 2000s, when I'd meet up with other bands or fans, or we would go without planning it into talking about literature and philosophy a lot, and black metal. Now it's this political thing. And before anybody says, now Dagon's worried about politics, we didn't seem to have a problem with it before when whatever. No, that was different. We're in an age now where it seems like politics is just a massive me versus you central theme in all metal and life in general. And it's not the greatest place for creative people. We've gotten away from this, I don't know what kind of brain you would call it, but it's done what I think you're concerned about AI doing. Mm-hmm. It's become too distractive, and it's suppressing that inner child that we had. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the political climate we have today, if it would have been like it is now in metal, well, I shouldn't say in metal, but people are so politically conscious, they think they are politically conscientious in our music, or music scene. I wonder if it would have been like that in the early 90s, if we would have had all those amazing releases. And it's just uninspiring. It's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's I mean, this isn't the hardcore scene, man. So we've become too urban. I feel like it's too urban. Mm-hmm. And I think it's done the same thing that you worry about, like, say, AI in general. That's something that's really bothered me. Mm-hmm. Just like you mentioned, like, technology can suppress. I think that's what you were saying, the creative mind and the inner child. Mm-hmm. I think politics has done that a lot.
My observation when it comes to politics is more about not having an actual identity. For example, I say that I'm a conservative person, but what is conservativity anymore? You know, am I Christian?
Oh,
no, I'm not. You know, I'm not faithful to my wife or whatsoever. Yeah. I don't care about all these old values. My identity is a counter identity. I am not that guy.
Yeah.
And the other guy says, I'm not that guy. I don't want to get too much into politics, but you know, I think back in the day, if you want to stick with the United States, there were Democrats and Republicans, right? Now, what are the Republican values right now, and what are the Democratic values right now?
In politics, well, in the topic of itself of politics, there's a massive identity crisis, and it changes every 10, 20 years. A Republican today is something else, conservative, whatever. Liberals are one thing. It morphs. So that's a whole nother topic. What I'm getting at is it's just boring. It's boring. Like we're here doing an interview because I'm in Inquisition. We're not here doing an interview because I'm some member of the Conservative Party of, like, that's not our gig right now. Mm-hmm. Like the shirt you're wearing, when that album was written, I wasn't thinking about. Mm-hmm. I mean, I really wasn't. I was out in space. There was what we called Satanism. My mind has always been stuck in some dreamy medieval world. That, yes, okay, politics is, for some people, it's everything. Politics for me is just management. It's like business management of society. Mm-hmm. But more important than politics is philosophy. Tell me what politics is without philosophy. If you don't have a philosophy, if you don't have a philosophical mind, and question things and rationalize with things, and not with things, but if you don't rationalize your thoughts and have the ability to separate emotion and logic and know how to compromise and just question and find beauty in questioning things, like, why are there ripples in the water? Mm-hmm. Well, that might go with more scientific route. Mm-hmm. But philosophy is beautiful, it's necessary, and it's died out. Yeah. And politics has replaced philosophy, it's now replacing science, it's replacing music, it's the new entertainment. Mm-hmm. And most idiots think that it's everything, and it's not. Mm-hmm. It's not. Even how we eat has become political. Yeah. Like, fuck, man. Like, so the parallel is, I understand the fears of AI, because we see that as, it's going to replace everything. Mm-hmm. I see other things that are non-technological and are social that are replacing almost everything. Mm-hmm. One of those things is what we call politics. I just call it pop politics. Mm-hmm. But that's what happens when you get a lot of people that use it as a form of wannabe intellectualization, or I'll watch a lot of news and I'll sound really smart when I just repeat all these things I hear in different news thing. Oh, and this party sounds kind of cool, so I'll kind of go down that route. And then I'm in metal where it's edgy, so I'll just spew a bunch of stupid stuff. And yeah, and we all went through phases like that, but now it's gone to the extreme. There's nothing philosophical anymore in black metal. Remember, that's why we're here talking. It's about life, but we're here, I guess, about Inquisition. It's a show for Inquisition, and I just wanted to point that out. As Inquisition, I think, and talking about your topics on AI in a colder world and maybe less human connections, but philosophy has taken a back seat in a lot of things.
Absolutely.
You know what does that make sense a little bit? Like just forgetting about anything political or anything religious, just nature. And analyzing yourself and analyzing your surroundings and questioning and using rational thoughts and logic, some logic. And that leads to stimulating the creative mind. And creativity has evolved in different ways, but it seems lately it's just less inspiring. I think some of it is because of the hyper obsessiveness of social climates. You know, like you saw during COVID, even that became a big political thing. Nobody was really talking about music or anything.
What are your plans after the tour?
Well, probably the most important answer is I'm going to start writing the next album probably in a few months before the end of the year. We have Steel Fest. They invited us back to go to headline. I think it was I can't remember. It's Friday or Saturday. And we have Steel Fest. Then in June, we're going to do a couple of shows with Sadistic Intent in Central America and Mexico, and then go back to South America, and then from there I don't know. But what I know for sure is writing. So I'll be writing. That takes about 2 years. So yeah.
Thank you for the interview.
Thank you. Yeah.